actual fact, we have nothing to worry about. According to our research, the next emission will not occur for at least 2 months, 4 days, and 7 hours. Its intensity will be 3 on the Bergman scale, which is 2.13.
Without going into detail, I must say I have never seen anything like this before. The encephalogram suggests serious damage to the nervous system, but the other indicators couldn't be better. It's astounding.
Perhaps it has something to do with the emission.
Most certainly. Although so far I've been utterly unable to formulate a rational explanation for this abnormality.
Let you know. You're of it. That's good. Welcome back to the world of the living, Stalker. How are you feeling? Do you remember what happened to you? In the joking mood, eh? That bodes well for your recovery. I'm Lebedev, the group leader, and I'm responsible for everyone here. That includes you, for as long as you're here. Lucky? I doubt it. The facts are these. You survived the emission. That's the first thing I still can't explain. The second thing is that our patrol found you in the swamps, which are essentially endless quicksand. And thirdly, you nearly got torn into shreds by a pack of pseudo-dogs. But our boys got you out just in time. Such a chain of events tells me it's more than just luck. Anyway, I need to finish what I'm doing. So let's continue this conversation later.
Got my settings sorted out. Hello, welcome to Stalker Clear Sky live walkthrough. I actually decided to start this about a year earlier than I planned, since it's August 1st as of right now, and I have until the 27th of August before I have to go back to university and back to using a primary computer that cannot run this at the settings that I want to run it for the sake of a video series. Of course, maybe I could convince my parents to let me bring my desktop along, but really that's largely the not being able to do that is largely a case of, you know, the amount of space it takes to pack it and all that. Currently, I am running in DirectX 10 mode. Some of the nicer effects like SSAO, I forget what the definition of the acronym is, and sun shafts are set to either low or off for the sake of performance. I mean, I can play the game with those settings on. The issue comes with recording. I'm kind of sort of integrating the stress test along with the beginning video, because I just didn't really have the patience to play through a significant portion of the game and then come back to start the recording from the beginning. Of course, I'm not really taking this little area into account in terms of performance quality, just because there are a lot of people here. It's much like the safe houses in Call of Pripyat. before doing anything else, let's have a chat.
Ah, it's you?
Bean Polev, the guy with the horribly mistranslated name.
I'm glad to see you, young man. You look considerably better. People are mistaken in their belief that they understand the essence of what the zone truly is. Some consider it to be a universal evil, others a wonder sent down to humanity, and others still consider it no more than a source of riches. They are all wrong. The zone is impossible to understand when viewed through the prism of human perception. Moreover, it is far too early for humans to even try. Ergo, the actions of both the government and stalkers with respect to the zone are misguided, and I fear that the potential consequences may be, or indeed are, completely unpredictable. Naturally, this represents a terrible danger. Young man, if only I had the answer to that question. We are studying the zone meticulously in hopes of finding it. The zone appeared as a result of the actions, let's call them misguided human actions, and we are unable to return to the status quo. The zone cannot be destroyed, nor will it disappear of its own accord. We, Clear Sky, believe that there is only one way to reconcile man with the zone: coexistence. How can I best explain? Let's put it like this. Any complicated system in nature, and that includes the zone, automatically seeks equilibrium in the absence of destabilizing external factors. That was the case here in recent years. The zone was stable and there were no significant deviations from the norm. And now we've seen a gigantic emission that has changed the face of the zone. The system became unstable, distorted, a glitch of sorts. The zone is spewing out emission after emission and pumping itself full of energy with each one, so much so that the readings on my sensors oscillate with unbelievable speed. And unless we find a way of reversing this trend, the result will be a disaster of far greater proportions than the 1986 catastrophe. The most important lesson in all this is that this glitch is not a product of natural causes. This is human handiwork. And that's what we are attempting to find out. Perhaps knowing who disrupted the zone's equilibrium will give us a chance to prevent a disaster. Since man caused this mess in the first place, man may well be the only one able to set it right. In any event, I very much hope that is the case. I fear that question is not one I can answer. I suggest you address it to Lebedev. If that is all, I better get back to my work.
Right, and just like Shadow Chernobyl, I'm going to make an effort to cut the microphone audio during parts like that. Of course, this makes me wish that when I bought this USB sound card for my desktop, I had instead opted to buy the version that had a microphone port in it, or an integrated microphone, one of the two. Either way, it would be a lot more convenient than this. And there's the issue with my current settings. The lighting doesn't quite work right at distance. And for reference, I'm getting around 20 to 24 frames per second in this area. I just want to point out a few things before I carry on with the story. I am going to be linearizing this a bit, just like the Shadow Chernobyl one, for the sake of completing the game, of course. Because once again, playing it the normal way, all sorts of exploring and shit, it could take infinity and a half and 3/4 to finish. Also, this game does seem to have a far better translation and selection of English voice actors than the previous one. Although, as you could clearly see in the beginning with Lebedev, the speaking animations are still awful and terrible and horrible and everything in between. This game is also, unfortunately, pretty damn cut, much like Shadow Chernobyl. A lot of pretty cool things ended up being cut from the final product. Of course, this one has a different excuse. It was released 1 year after Shadow Chernobyl. It's actually a standalone expansion, not a sequel. Well, a standalone expansion that acts as a prequel and it occurs before Shadow Chernobyl, so that's actually a pretty decent explanation for why the zone is a lot more cheery than it is in that game. If I remember the storyline lore right, which relies on my memory not failing me, which is a pretty big thing to rely on. Basically, the events at the end of this game kind of sparked the zone becoming as dark and hostile and gloomy as it is in the next one. Alright, let's carry on.
Look who we got visiting our swamps. You sure are a whiff of fresh air.
And your speaking animation is awful.
Hello, Merc. You became quite a legend while you were out of it. Even you wouldn't believe some of the rumors I've heard. Anyways, here's a drink on the house for a lucky son of a gun. It should help you relax and tell me about your adventures, because I'm just dying of curiosity. Well then, you drink and I'll tell you about this place. It used to be pretty quiet here. We had the paths worked out, the right places explored, and the approach covered. Of course, the swamps ain't exactly spring break material, but it wasn't too bad either. Yeah, it wasn't too bad until the last emission, the biggest we've ever seen. These days our boys pray both to God and the devil before going out of the base. Because getting back alive is a miracle in its own right. But we're managing to hold it together, because our guys ain't here for loot. They're fighting for a cause. I was collecting bottles one after another, and they led me here. I'm kidding, man. Truth is, there was no place for me in that other world. They didn't want me. In the end, I came here. First to the zone, and then to Clear-Sky. The guys here are all right, and I'm needed here. They come back here after a mission, I pour them a drink, tell a few dirty jokes, and my job is done. Simple, but effective. By the way, they call me Cole around here. In our base, as you can see, it's a small, sinking farmstead in the middle of romantic, endless swamps. I couldn't tell you where it is exactly, but it's the last place in the zone where you can meet real people. Guys who won't screw you, stab you in the back, or let you bleed to death to save a med kit. You know why you've never heard of it? Because too many people want to know about it. And the fewer that do, the better. Lebedev is our leader. The man is a rock if ever I've seen one. He's the glue that holds our whole group together. Then there's Binpolev, Professor Binpolev. He's like a walking encyclopedia and a calculator in one. Knows more about the zone than... well, anyway. Our technician's called Gray, and he can make you a rifle out of an empty can with ammo to boot. He could use some spares, but apart from that. And finally, we have Suslov. He's a trader, but he ain't like the others of his trade. He won't try to rip you off or screw you.
Cole,
he knows what
leave the
stalkers
Merc
go
alone
through
with
to
your
get their
dirty
loot,
jokes.
and he
I need
respects
to see
that.
him.
Well, brother, if Lebedev says he needs to see you, that ain't up for a discussion. Go on, I'll catch you later.
Fine. Also, note the... well, bad frame rate, obviously, but note the lack of crazy, strange, shit, what is it called? Mouse smoothing. Unfortunately, due to the, lower performance of this game thus far, I probably won't turn on the motion blur effect, even though it looks pretty nice. Beanpolev, horribly mistranslated name. Also an old friend. Let's see if you recognize him by name. If you watched the previous series or played the previous game, of course. Please tell me this was a mistranslation. Because I highly doubt S.T.A.L.K.E.R would talk like this. Alright. Shouldn't I freaking retard? Oh, and by the way, do you recognize this man? There may or may not have been a bit of a similar looking creature in the previous game.
Got some fresh air? You look better, that's for sure. Let me fill you in on the situation. You're in the Clear-Sky base. Don't try to remember who we are. You've never heard of us, and there's a very good reason for that. Our mission is to research the zone. We believe that the zone must be studied and understood so that humanity knows what it is facing here. Understanding is the key to coexisting with the zone. Because if you think about it, the zone is the most wondrous phenomenon humanity has been confronted with in its entire history. As I said, we are researchers. We are trying to figure out the nature of the zone, determine the reasons which caused it to appear, and formulate the rules that govern its existence. We are not consumed by a quest for money. We don't seek fields of artifacts, and we're not interested in turf wars with other factions. That is why we're hiding here in the swamps and concentrating on our research. Our forte is not combat, but knowledge. Knowledge of the zone, accumulated over years of research. We know more about it than stalkers and the government combined. And our research was finally shaping up into a sound, coherent picture until the massive emission a few days ago. No, that emission was incredibly powerful. It was on a level of its own. It was like a hurricane that swept the whole zone, changing it. Everything is different. The well-known and relatively safe areas have become highly radioactive and full of anomalies. But now, you can access parts of the zone that have been unreachable for years. Even the most hardened stalkers don't know what awaits them on their favorite path. The other thing that changed is people, and that became evident right away. The emission destroyed the fragile balance between factions, and they're now warring for territory. In other words, many strange things have happened, and I don't yet fully understand the scale of these changes. It's only been a few days since the emission. If you ask me, the strangest thing of all is that you managed to survive it. I see. How can I help you? Getting out of here isn't easy, not by a long shot. The swamps are a real maze of reeds and radioactive quicksand, swarming with terrible monsters and human scum. And I don't know which is worse. Only a guide can lead you safely out of here. We only have a handful of them. Guys I would trust with my life without a second thought. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Because if I let you go, our presence here might not stay a secret for long. We are having a very tough time here recently. The emission reduced the number of anomalies in the swamps, which made the area easily accessible for bandits and other vermin. There are so many of them, they'll be setting up camp in our base soon if we don't do something about it. The problem is that we're not really the fighting type, so we've been steadily losing ground. But you, one look at you, tells me you're a pro in that sort of thing.
This is the second outpost.
Your
We're under attack. I
experience can
repeat,
save the
we're under
lives
attack.
of many
Help!
of my... That's enough chit-chat. There's been another attack on our outpost. Help us fight it off. If it makes any difference, some of the boys who saved you are there right now. You still remember how to survive in the zone? Great. Get over to the trader and he'll fit you out with some basic equipment. After that, head straight to the outpost. Once you're outside the base, listen to my advice. I'll try to guide you along. Trader, a fighter is on his way to you. Issue him with all the equipment he'll need for the mission.
Roger that.
Hurry, Merc.
Right. It seems my Russian accent could use a lot of the learning from this man. Also, shit, what else was I doing to mention? Also, it's nice to finally see somebody say try to in a sentence like that. Getting irrationally annoyed with all these people that are like, I'm going to try and do this. It just doesn't make any sense. God! I don't know if it's technically grammatically correct to say that, but it's fucking annoying. Oh, I thought this guy stopped you. Dude, please. Maybe it's later in the game. Look at this. DirectX 10 is an amazing renderer. Look at this. There's just so much added contrast and depth of color and everything here. You just don't get it with DirectX 9. Especially not with games these days, since so many PC games are console ports. And console ports, or console games, if they run on DirectX at all, are DirectX 9, which is just awful, because that's a really old renderer engine. Also, nice car.
You're with us again? Glad to see you. At last! Here, take this basic equipment kit. It's designed specifically for patrol missions. I've been ordered to issue you some equipment. There's no time for questions. The boys need you now.
Yeah, that's nice. Also, I think, if I remember right, it was actually a patch that added this weapon into your default inventory. Well, I don't know. First, before we do anything, I want to do a little bit of stash gathering. Here. And on the subject of DirectX, I hope to eventually, at some point in the foreseeable future, upgrade this computer enough so that I can use DirectX 11. Because currently, my card doesn't even support it. It doesn't even support 10.1, which this game supports. Of course, with such upgrades, I'd be able to get this game running and looking a lot better. I don't really have money to do anything else here.
Stalker, what do you want?
No loading screen because I'm still in the same area. I actually don't know if this game's engine fixed that whole thing, that whole issue that I had with the last one. Showing off the reloading animation here. I really like that one. But I can't remember if this game fixed that little issue I had with the last one, whereby running into a loading screen caused the game to crash when I was recording. Also, I have a quick confession to make. I'm not running this perfectly vanilla. I have a mod installed. And that's it. Yep, see, this right here, not much, is it? Basically, for some reason, in the vanilla game, purely vanilla game, they decided to make this, the pistols aim the same way that guns in the original Fear did, and Duke Nukem Forever and all that. Just kind of zoom in. And I basically decided, fuck that shit. I want a mod so I can use iron sights. Because I also shut off the crosshair for these games because I like to play without crosshairs, so my aiming is reliant on aiming down the sights, you know, like a real gun, part of the immersion.
Merc, there are anomalies ahead. Be careful. Remember, don't move until you've thrown a bolt in front of you.
Also, here's a new bit. Detectors. You must have the detectors out to acquire an artifact. For Shadow Chernobyl, the detectors are integrated into your suit. In earlier versions, you had to, like, put the detector on your belt to use it. Well, earlier versions of Shadow Chernobyl, that is.
Oh, by the way, you can sometimes find artifacts in anomalies. You can't see them, but detectors spot them easily enough. If you get close enough, your detector will indicate the location of the artifact, and then you just pick it up easy as pie. Keep in mind that your current detector isn't exactly top of the line. It only shows the distance to the artifact.
You can also dual wield the detector with a pistol. Because I think I showed it earlier. Maybe not. Also, once again, on Master, because that's the only difficulty I play on. Kind of like Doom with ultra violence. Let's try this out. Also, you may notice that bandages no longer heal you. I'm not the biggest fan of
Run
this.
for the tower! The monsters can't get you there!
No, I want to loot these guys first. If it makes you feel better, some of the guys that saved you are there. You actually can return to this place on your own time later. God damn. I'm losing all my supplies.
You're right on time, bro.
Okay.
I'm real low on ammo, so let's make the best of it together.
I'm not your brother, damn it. Do not call me that. I'm gonna save because...
Attention all fighters.
Oh, shit.
An emission is approaching. Get to cover now.
Way to die. Just loot you. And return to clear sky base. Okay, let's go. We've been returned here. Voice crack. Load all these. Oh, jellyfish, I'll be keeping that. The artifacts have different properties than they did in the first game as well. Oh, Christ. Frame rates. Ah! Before I do...
Hello there. Oh, welcome, guest from foreign lands. What come you with? A bursting purse? A prized exotic wonders? Yeah, I heard your story. I reckon the main thing is that you're still alive. Stuff is easy enough to replace, as long as the zone is kind to you. So, you gonna trade, or you got some questions for me? That's the sort of people we are. You can't buy an extra 15 minutes of life, or a spare store from death. But us traders are needed everywhere, even in the zone, even in the swamps, and even underground. It's an illusion that the zone is under lock and key, and the army has all the ways in and out sealed. And think about it. Nowadays, artifacts and rare specimens from the zone can be found all over the world. And your fellow stalkers never have a shortage of canned meat, vodka, ammo, or equipment. Somebody's got to be responsible for all that, right? Well, that's where we come in. In this place, it ain't like selling bootleg CDs on the outside with the cops up your ass every damn day. Around here, the situation is very simple. The outside world has an interest in the zone and vice versa. But it's officially forbidden, prohibited, and all that bullshit. That's what we're here for. We make sure all those interests are satisfied and everybody's happy. There's a joke among traders that if someone points a gun at you, the best bet is to try to buy it off them. Let's not talk about it. You have no idea how tired I am of peddling these trinkets. There's a ton of ordinary artifacts out there, but the best tidbits pass this place by. I haven't had a unique item in my store for ages. Who knows? Maybe stalkers have already found everything there is to find. Man, getting behind the Scorcher would be a dream. I heard you can get enough artifacts there to last you a lifetime. Provided your life doesn't end there then. It's about time us traders joined forces and used our connections to find a way of getting past that thing. Yeah, I know. Anyway, listen, I've told you too much as it is. Time is money. So if you want to trade, go ahead. If not, I'll see you around. Good luck to you.
And it seems to me that our supplies were not, in fact, scattered around. Hooray, 90 rubles for 3 pistols and a shotgun. Let me just pull up my handy-dandy converter thingamabobber on my cellularized telephone. They've been older ones, so it takes a little bit to get through things. Because fuck smartphones. USD to rubles. Oh, what am I doing? Rubles to USD. So that's 90 total. Alright, I'm getting $3.43 out of this sale. Won't try to screw you my ass. Of course, I could sell this for $2,600, but I'm going to keep it. Radiation -2 is very useful. You got something, spilled beans. If not, take a hike. Oh yes, that'll be in the next game. Recording coming either winter 2011 or summer 2012. But these videos probably going out sometime. Well, definitely going out after Shadow of Chernobyl. Is uploading. It's been a bit over 30 minutes. Well, I actually have a bit more hard drive space because I've uninstalled a few things from both computers, but yeah, might as well keep it consistent. So I'll be back after transferring some files.